Independence Now. Okay, I had to switch it, make sure I had it right. I'm gonna have you on the speak now, and we'll do that for now. And lunch is on the way. Okay, it is on the way. So, all right, now we all come on up, baby.
Thank you. Hello, guys. Okay, have everybody's attention? All right. I'm going to ask you to do one thing for me. Please stand up. Right. Everybody up. Everybody up. Everybody up. Everybody up. Up. Okay. Up. Everybody up on your feet. Up on your feet. So we sit around. Okay. Get the muscles and the blood moving again. I want you to stretch your arms as wide as you can. Wide. Stretch. 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 Your fingers should be extended to the walls. And then up above the head. Breathe in deeply. And exhale. Lower your hands down by your sides. Shake it out, right? Right? Shake some things out. Mix it back out. Okay? Alright. Now, I did that also. It's kind of a little bit of a trick intro. Right? Because this afternoon you've heard a lot today from our colleagues around the room. We've got tables up about this disabilities for individuals homeownership for individuals with disabilities. But there are a couple of points that I want to make sure are droned in. Number one is money. Can you repeat that word? Money. I don't think I can hear you. What? Money. What? Money. Money. And then number two, credit score. Credit score. What? Credit score. Credit score. Credit score. 1 and 2, money and your credit score. At Independence Now Inc. is the organization that I work for. It's a non-profit organization, and our only mission is to provide advocacy and support for persons with disabilities. That's the only thing we do all day. We serve specifically individuals with disabilities in Montgomery County and in Prince George's County. And my job at Independence Now is the housing specialist. We do lots of different things, but they hired me on last May to do only housing because the need is that great. Particularly in Prince George's County, I'm sure most of you already know that the amount of affordable housing that's available in Prince George's County is limited. Very limited. Okay. Very limited. The affordable housing or waiting list for Prince George's County has been closed since 2015. Closed. You're not getting on that list if you haven't already got it. You're not getting on it, right? I have to speak a little Guyanese, but my family is Guyanese American, so sometimes you might hear a little bit of that come out, so I'm sorry in advance. But Montgomery County may be a little bit more flexibility, there's a little bit more available, but I wanted you to do this stretch because I wanted to demonstrate something to you. The programs that we heard today about homeownership and the opportunities that you can pursue with MANA or DHCD or even with some of the lenders, they're not the only opportunities. Just like the waiting list for Section 8 in Prince George's County is not the only opportunities. Raise your hands, put your hands on either side of your eyes like this. Right? What you heard today, this is the scope of what's actually out there. Extend your hands back out, stretch. There are lots of different programs. Lots of programs that you can apply for. And even the ones that we heard in the room, which are fantastic, they're not the only games in town. So your job as a consumer is to ask questions, learn, find out. But just as importantly, just as I'm standing right here, my job at Independence Now is to be your resource. Send me an email. Abiola, is there a such thing as a homeownership program for individuals with disabilities? Why, yes, there is. What do you want to know? Here's who you can call. Right? Or, Abiola, are the only waiting lists available in Prince George's County, Section 8 and Weinberg? No, there's not. There's some nonprofits in it, right? I'm your resource. That's what the housing specialist job requires. Okay? We don't have our own in-house housing program. We don't have our own homes that we can help you get into, but we do serve as resources, and we also serve as advocates. So let's say that you start on a program and not really making any headway. Maybe you started on a process and people are not returning their calls, right? I want you to believe that I have no problem picking up the phone and saying, my consumer's been trying to get in touch with you. This is the problem that I've understood. We need this resolved, and by what day can we have this resolved? Right? Okay, now I keep doing it like this because I'm on the computer or at least on my phone a whole lot. I'm going to tell you the truth. Don't try to call me. Because my voicemail at this very second is tipping over 400 voicemails at a time. And because I spend all of my time meeting with consumers, doing intakes, but also just on the computer, making calls or doing research or just out at meetings like this. So I really, the best way to reach me is by email. So this comes to my next point. A lot of the programs that are out there, if you're going to sign up for something nowadays, you have to have an email address that you actually check and read. Right? You have to. And then some of these, like particularly Montgomery County, if you want to get notification of the fact that you've been awarded, you've been selected for a housing choice voucher, they're not contacting you and picking up the phone to call you. They're sending you an email. So if you're not in the habit of opening up your email, sending an email to follow up on something, even if it's to email me, then you're going to be in trouble. You're going to get left behind. Right? All right, I want to come back again just to review this point. Two most important things that you need to start thinking about if you haven't done so already. Out of everything you've heard today are one and two things. What were they? Money. And what else? Credit scores. Credit scores. Okay. So I talked about myself. I talked about independence now. I talked about what we do. We have 5 core service areas. Number 1 is peer counseling. And I just gave a little bit of that. Peer counseling, meaning someone like myself or other staff at Independence Now. 80 to 85% of the staff are persons with disabilities. And I'm just telling my new friend Paul here that that includes me. I'm showing off today in these lovely heels, right? But I have lupus. I was diagnosed in 2005, and 4 years ago I had the 5th and worst lupus flare of my life. It put me in a wheelchair. And so I was a wheelchair user for about a year. And then after that, I was managed to do aggressive physical therapy because I used to also do yoga. And after aggressive physical therapy and just sitting up in bed and doing breathing exercises, I was able to get my way into a walker, a wheelchair. Well, first I was bedridden, then the wheelchair, then the walker, and then a cane for another year. So about 4 years. At the top of this year, January 2017, I stopped using the cane. Okay? So I'm showing off right now. I'm not sure necessarily just to get your support, which is lovely. It's to say that persons with disabilities come in all shapes and sizes, and that's who we serve at Independence Now. Okay? Everyone with disabilities has a right to live, work, study, and be homeowner. Be safe in their own home. Every single person. And one of the reasons I'm so excited to work with Independence Now is because it's the very same organization that supported me to be standing right in front of you here today. Right? So I hope that it's sinking in that persons with disabilities can be empowered, can have the know-how. You don't have to have all the answers, but there are individuals in this room and then right here who do have those answers. And we work for you. We work for you. Now, coming back to those 2 things, money and credit. Right? Credit score. At Independence Now, if you come by my office, you make an appointment with me, and you say, Akiola, I've got the goal, I got a dream of owning my own home. And, you know, I went to that seminar, you know, that you told me to go to, and they threw a lot of information at us, but I'm not really sure where to start. Great. That's my job, is to walk you through, help you get through that process. So if that's what you want to do, we put that on the list of your goals. There's another name for goals. What is it? What's another name for goals?
Dreams.
Who said that?
Dreams.
Right here, dreams. So, stepping back just to my own personal story, is that while I was hospitalized the last time, it was 2013, this was 4 years, while I was hospitalized, I had plenty of time laying on my back to look up at the ceiling and ponder life. You know, I couldn't go anywhere, couldn't move, and in that time, some of the things that I pondered were what I had accomplished in my life, because we all do that, right? You get to a point, you're not feeling so great about things, you start just wondering, you know, what is this life? What is my life? What is the meaning of my life? I thought to myself, I, you know, was very fortunate. I had my parents who came from Guyana, came here, worked very hard, 2 and 3 jobs, like a typical Caribbean family, in order for me to have an education. So I put about $200,000 into my education to study, go to grad school, undergrad, law school. And there I am sitting in the bed looking up at the ceiling, and I can't walk. I can't get a return on my education investment. But I had achieved some things. I managed to work for a White House agency. I used to negotiate international trade agreements. I traveled the world. I had gotten involved in doing policy work, foreign policy. That was my dream since I was a little girl. So, but here I am sitting in this hospital, and it hit me. I think you're allowed to have more than one dream. I'd accomplished my professional goal, but I kind of thought to myself, there are some other things that I want from my life. And I'm not talking about, oh, I wish I were healthy. I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking about all the other things that you have desired for yourself. It doesn't just have to stop at housing. Even if you're homeless, you have and are allowed to have other dreams. What are they? At Independence Now, we work on those dreams with you. We work to support you to accomplish those other dreams, also known as goals. Maybe it's been your dream to open up your own catering business. So then, I'm just a housing specialist, but I would definitely have you work with somebody in our organization that can help you take the steps necessary to get your business off the ground. Refer you to doors, and where they might, get you started with a computer set up in your home office. Get a desk for you. They did that for me. They can do all those things, right? So we're going to do a little bit of an exercise. If you want to share, aside from having your own home, what other dream do you have for your life? Go.
My dream is helping others, to help them to get through what I've been through.
Beautiful. So a good term for that is being an advocate, right? An advocate for others. That's what I do, and I'm proud to do it. Anybody else? Anybody else have other dreams? Nobody has dreams? Really? Come on. Yes. Beautiful. So she wants to become her own business, her own business woman, an entrepreneur, right? That's vocational. Anybody else? School? Yes.
Daycare?
Yeah, also a daycare, right? So her own businesswoman. And you could do that. Yes, go ahead.
Just to provide housing for people with autism, adult autism.
There you go, right? So also, own business or working with other organizations? So basically a consultant, right? But a consultant is also her own business person. Yes?
I'd like to get back to my professional computer job skills.
All right, so that's vocational. She's got a career as an IT specialist, right? Computer specialist, thank you for correcting me. All right? So you're allowed want to have other dreams. And I hope that you will give Independence Now that opportunity to help you make those dreams come true. And circling back now to the homeownership issues. I said, we did this exercise, you stretch out your arms, and that's the sort of limitless programs, unlimited number of programs that are available to you to be able to pursue the dream of homeownership. But maybe you didn't know that some of the programs you already applied for to get on the waiting list for a rental unit, where you still need money and you still need a good credit score, is that housing choice voucher, Section 8. Did you know that you could use that for homeownership as well? So you may want to write that down. That HCV, Housing Choice Voucher, Section 8 for homeownership, HCVH. That is another program that you could apply for. It works fairly the same way that the Housing Choice Section 8, also known as Section 8 voucher, works for rental properties, but it has a slightly higher minimum income requirement than for what the HCD does. Minimum is $35,000 annual income. But as you've heard, there's ways to get there, right? Maybe you've got family, maybe you've got younger children who are income earners and they all want to be in the house, want to be in the house together. You can get there, but that's at least one of the programs, and they're in both. This program runs in both Montgomery as well as in Prince George's County.
I'm sorry, what is it?
It's the same name as the Section 8 for rental units. Housing Choice Voucher. Housing Choice Voucher, HCV. That's for the rental units, but the HCVH is the Housing Choice Voucher for homeownership. Yes?
Do they also fall into like rental, and how much time do you pay off the house?
Well,
And how long do you voucher last?
I think that, I wish I knew the answer to that, I don't. But I know that at least for the rental units, you sign a year-long lease, and they pay that for the year. So when it comes to the homeownership, which is obviously would have to be different, because it can't just be a year, it probably has to be for the length of the agreement for that property, the mortgage agreement.
So they agree with the state?
Well, just like the Section 8, it only pays a portion. Pays a portion of your mortgage payment. So, again, I'd have to say,
So you have to come out of pocket.
you're going to have to come out of your pocket.
Right.
Money. Okay? Then another aspect of the money part, though, is that just the same way that Section 8 is not going to come through today. You apply for it today, you're not going to get it today. Right? You're not going to come off the waiting list today. Right? And some people even longer than that. Some people even longer than that. But with that particular program, though, is that you still have to plan. And just like with any dream, you already know deep down it's not something that's going to happen today. It doesn't have to happen today, but it's still like your goalpost where you're moving towards that. That's going to have to be the same approach that you take with owning your own home. That's your goalpost. What do you need to do to get there? And my colleagues around the room today have talked to you at length about the steps to get to that particular goal. And number one, gonna have to be the money. How long does it take you with your current income to save up $500 or $1,000? It's gonna be different for everybody. I know how long it took me, right? And I'm renting. I'd love to buy a house, I'd love to, but I already know that number one, money, and number two, credit score. So my credit score is, is fair. I have a fair credit score, but it's a myth if you think that you're going to be able to just get something today. Somebody's just going to give you a house. No, you have to have your money together, and you probably will need to give yourself time to accomplish the dream of the right credit score to get the right house. And by the way, I heard a question earlier about credit score. A perfect credit score would be 850. So 620, you kind of pushing it, right? You really kind of pushing the envelope there. But 850 is the perfect score, or I don't even know if you could go higher than that. I know I don't have 850, but I know that if I'm hovering at 650, I might want to work, spend a few months, maybe a year, working on, with a guidance counselor, a budgeting counselor. I think they have GuideWell. That's one of the seminars that we offer independents now, to work with you on getting that up, right? Okay, so what else did I want to mention? So peer counseling, advocacy services that we offer, advocacy, information and referral, transitions. For those of you that are already in housing that is accessible, that's fantastic. But one of the other things that we do at Independence Now is we assist you with transitioning out of a nursing home into the community. Or if you have a young person in your life with disabilities, helping them transition, make that transition from high school student to adult. Because that's difficult, right? When you're a younger person with disabilities, that's a little bit of a challenge, and we work on that too. So I mentioned peer counseling, information and referral, that is finding information to share with you because in ways that meets your goals / dreams. And then advocacy, I have no problem getting on the phone or writing a strongly worded letter to whoever needs to receive it. I'll give one example that we have someone in Section 8 unit on Bladensburg Road, not one of those newer buildings. It's a lovely building, actually. My consumer is a wheelchair user, and because he's a wheelchair user, of course, the side panels on the doors on the entry, they need to be wider. It's a no-brainer, right? Why did the building make him wait for months to be able to widen the doors? So when I came on the case in May and I found out about this, wrote a nice little letter. And then I got on the phone, and then guess who I ran into? The property management, the owner of the property. Do you think that I hesitated to bring up the concern about my consumer, my client? So I didn't, the situation was resolved. I'm happy to do it. I will not stand by and find out that someone with a disability is being disrespected. It is illegal across the United States to discriminate or to be unresponsive to a reasonable accommodation request, right? And widening the doors, that's perfectly reasonable. Your colleagues, some colleagues earlier also talked about modifications to your home, in this case. These are things that we also will assist with, not just accommodations, but modifications, right? The kitchen counter needs to come down a little bit lower. So I would find out if I could, I don't know the answer right now, but I will find out that once someone gets into the home, let's, learn about all the different grants and loans together, so that, you pay as little as possible to modify the home to fit your needs. And one final note about the modification process, we were talking about this toilet seat that was given away. I would have been happy to have received that, just FYI, because I know at some point, either an auntie, my parents, or somebody is going to need that. But guess what? At some point, I'm going to need it too, right? So thinking ahead, if you are successful in obtaining a mortgage, a 30-year mortgage on a home, think 30 years ahead from now. 30 years ahead, I am going to need modifications. I'm going to need accessibility. I might be in a wheelchair again. So think ahead to not only your dreams, but your needs, right? All of these things are things to consider. With that, I will take a couple of questions. If anybody has any, yes, sir.
Is it the same for townhouse as far as the house?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, let's say you have townhouses right there, rent, right?
Yes.
And say it's rented by, like, it's an option. or the rent, isn't that going towards, you got to pay it on time. And as far as you going to, getting to your own home, right? Do they have affordable townhomes? Houses?
I think every type of unit is available, it can be made available as an affordable unit, because it's not only the way that it's constructed, affordable and accessible. So construction is about accessibility, but affordability is saying that that particular unit, including a townhome or an apartment or a condo or a home, is participating in a state or county program that they're receiving either some kind of subsidy that allows them to subsidize the unit to make it affordable for a tenant. Low income or subsidized in one way or the other. So you can find those type of properties in private housing, where the landlord or the owner is a participant in a particular program, or in public housing, which I know most of us are more familiar with, but it's not limited to that. Once again, think bigger. Okay? Any other question? So if you've got a pen handy, I'll give you my email address, not my telephone number. All right? My name is spelled Abiola, which is A like apple, B like boy, I-O-L-A. Last name is spelled H like Harry, E like Edward, Y like yellow, L like Linda, I like India, G like George, E like Edward, R like Robert. And then my email address, much simpler, is A Heliger, H-E-Y, L-I-G-E-R, just my last name, at I-N-N-O-W, I-N-N-O-W, I-N-N-N-O-W, I-N-N-N-O-W, .org. Okay. And my email address again is A-H-E-Y-L-I-G-E-R at N like Nancy, N like Nancy, O-W.org. Okay? And that's Independence Now, and thank you for having me.